WIBTAH, AITAH for wanting to cut off a girl I accidentally led on. NSFW. Yes. I know how the title sounds. I honestly didn't mean for things to end up the way they have, and I want to right that wrong. This is a bit of a long story, so you might want to buckle in. Throwaway account for obvious reasons and TLDR at the bottom for your convenience. I, 22 meters, met Emily, 21F, at a Valentine's Day party hosted by a mutual friend of ours. We had both been drinking and literally bumped into each other. I spilled on her, she spilled on me. We both laughed it off and got new drinks. While we drank, we got to talking and realized that we had quite a few things in common. After another couple drinks and some dancing, we ended up back at her place. Let's just say I didn't end up leaving until the next afternoon. We both agreed to keep in touch and see each other again. After that, we talked whenever we had the time and began planning to meet up. A couple weeks after we met, my university's theatre department was putting on a certain Scottish play that I remember us both liking, so I asked her if she would want me to buy tickets so we could go see it together. She said yes, so I excitedly bought the tickets. This is where some of the red flags started popping up for me. While watching the play, I began to realize that she didn't seem that interested. That's not a red flag, and she wasn't being rude about it. She just kept looking toward the doors and checking the time on her watch. The red flag for me was that she had her hand on my upper thigh most of the time, and I had to keep moving her hand down away from my crotch. After the third or fourth time, I whispered that I didn't want her to touch me like that in public. She stopped and apologized. During intermission, I asked if she wanted to go somewhere else since it was getting a bit late and I knew she had work in the morning. She declined but said that she would love to go out for drinks after the play. I agreed, wanting to spend more time getting to know her since I knew it would be a while before we saw each other again. When the play ended, we walked to a local bar and shot the shit while we drank and ate badly seasoned chicken strips. She only had one drink since she had to drive home, but insisted that I cut loose since the next day was my only day off that week. I had about 4 drinks before I decided that I should be done for the night as I was getting a bit wobbly. She agreed and said that she'd get her car so I didn't have to walk home drunk. I paid while she brought the car over. She helped me get in the car and asked if I wanted to go over to her place for the night. It was already past midnight and I was feeling a bit dizzy and nauseous, so I said no. She just nodded and turned the radio on. When she dropped me off at my place, I let her know that I had fun and that I would love to hang out again sometime. She just said, sure, and drove off. After that, she didn't text me or answer any of my texts for the next 3 days. I eventually asked if I did anything to upset her and that if I had, I was sorry. She answered, saying that I didn't do anything wrong, she just wasn't checking texts at the moment. I told her that was fine and to let me know whenever she wasn't busy and left it at that. A couple days later, she texted me and asked if I wanted to come over to her place and get drunk. It was around 9 p.m. when she asked, so I said no, but maybe another time when I didn't have work the next day. She left me on read and reached out again the next morning, asking when I would be free. I let her know that I'd be free at the end of the week, but probably wouldn't want to drink. She said that was fine and that we could see a movie instead. The day we were supposed to meet up at the movie theater, she cancelled last minute. Apparently, she had been called into work about 20 minutes prior. I was a bit peeved that she didn't let me know as soon as she was called in, but it was fine and I told her that I hoped she had a good shift. Since I was already at the theater, I just watched the movie by myself. After that, we didn't see each other for a while. We still texted, but finals were coming up and I was working hard to maintain my GPA. Every time we would text, she would invite to go drinking. It didn't matter the day of the week or the time, she kept insisting we go drinking together. At this point, I was getting extremely worried. My family has a history of alcoholism, so I try to drink extremely sparingly. Her constant insistence on going drinking was making me nervous and worried about her health. I voiced this to her and she told me not to worry and that she could respect me not wanting to drink very often. After that, she didn't text me for another week. At this point, I was starting to feel dejected. It felt like she was only interested in me when I was drinking and that I was doing something wrong. I asked a few of my friends for advice. One of my friends, Sam, 25 meters, told me that her behavior sounded toxic. He said that her only trying to schedule dates that involved drinking was odd and that I should watch out for any more red flags. Soon, finals were over and besides work, I was free. One of my friends decided to host an end-of-semester party. I really wanted to cut loose and release some of the extra stress I had, so I decided to go. I wanted to give Emily another chance too, so I invited her to come with me if she was free. She immediately agreed. I drove us to the party and after talking, dancing, and having a couple drinks, we seemed to be more comfortable with each other again. I went to use the bathroom and when I returned, I finished my drink and we danced a bit more. After a bit, I started to feel a bit dizzy, so we went and sat down. She seemed anxious, so I asked if she was okay. She said yes, but that she saw some people she had a falling out with and needed to go. I offered to call her an Uber since I wasn't okay to drive, but she declined, saying that she would call one herself and insisted that I stay and have fun. After she left, I sent her a text saying that I hoped she got home okay and had another drink. The rest of the party was a blur. I eventually woke up on my friend's bathroom floor. Me and Emily didn't talk for a while after that. At some point during that period, I realized that I didn't have romantic feelings for her. I think I was just excited to meet someone new who had a lot of similar interests since I like some kind of niche stuff. Either way, I realized that I didn't really want to date her and thought of ways to let her down easy. This brings us to me and Emily's most recent hangout. We planned to hang out at her place, have a couple drinks, smoke a couple joints, eat some snacks, and watch a show we both liked. I planned on letting her know that night that I wanted to be just friends going forward. She picked me up from my place since my car was in for repairs and we got to talking. She told me about a guy from her work who she thought was cute and said that she hoped that wasn't awkward for me. I told her it wasn't. Secretly, I was really relieved that letting her down might be easier than I thought. Then, she started telling me why she liked this guy. She said that she's always been attracted to guys that she could throw around. That isn't too out of the ordinary. I know plenty of people who are into that kind of thing, but it was the way she said it and the context that startled me. She said that she always liked guys that were smaller, thinner, and weaker than her. That she liked the feeling of being more powerful than another person. For context, I am very short and have a more scrawny build while she is fairly tall and is very athletic. I debated telling her that hearing her talk like that made me uncomfortable, but I didn't want to make things awkward, so I just kinda laughed and changed the subject. When we got back to her place, we got set up in the living room, started the show, and lit up the joint I brought for us to share. After a few episodes and finishing the joint and drinks, she asked if I wanted another drink. I said I wasn't sure yet, but I'd let her know. She went to make another drink for herself and I went to the bathroom. When I came out, there were 2 drinks on the coffee table. She said that since she was already making a drink for herself, she figured she might as well make another. I thanked her and we sat down to continue the show. I decided that the next time we took a break, I'd tell her I wanted to be friends. We smoked a bit more and I had a few sips from the drink she made me. After a bit, she ended up resting her head on my shoulder and putting her hand on my thigh. I decided that it was time to say something and paused the show. I started to tell her that I wasn't into her like that when she kissed me. Hard. Like teeth banging, might bruise later, check for a bloody nose hard. It was not pleasant at all. I pulled away and told her I was feeling sick and needed to go to the bathroom. I called Sam from the bathroom and asked him to pick me up as at this point, my head was swimming from the weed and alcohol and I was panicking. He agreed and said that he'd be there soon. I left the bathroom and let Emily know that I wasn't feeling good and that I called a friend to pick me up. After that, she acted extremely cold toward me. We continued watching the episode, but she wouldn't look at me or talk to me when we had previously been making jokes throughout the show. When Sam let me know he was outside, I told her that I needed to go, but that I'd let her know how I was feeling in the morning and that I hoped she had a good rest of her night. She didn't say anything and watched me walk to Sam's car. After driving away, Sam asked me what happened and I told him how the night went. He told me that what she did wasn't okay, that it was creepy, and that I needed to cut her off, even if it meant hurting her feelings. I asked some other friends for their opinions and had a couple tell me it would be a dick move to just drop her after spending so much time together in a romantic context. WIBTAH for cutting her off like Sam suggested. TLDR, WIBTAH, AITAH for realizing that I don't have romantic feelings for a girl after noticing some red flags and wanting to cut her off on a friend's advice.